Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're looking at the Transit Aerospace Fighter here from Battletech. All right, starting off at Sarna.net, we do have the Transit listed here. All right, in our description, it does list a common sight in the House of Liao, the Compellian Confederation Airlines, as the Transit has armor and weapons to spare. Built as a mech buster and dropship attack craft, the Transit isn't fast or agile, but it is easy to control and has very few losses of control accidents. For weapons and equipment, the main armament of the Transit is the giant Tomodzor Zoro AC-20 located in the nose, along with 2 tons of ammo to feed the monstrous autocannon. The 4 uh, Kajaka Type 2 Bright Blossom medium lasers are mounted in the front, 2 in the nose and 1 on each wing. This gives the Transit a backup when the ammo supply for the autocannon has been exhausted. All right, so we have variants here going on. Not a lot of them, but we do have a couple. The TR9, this variant is identical to the TR10, except that it mounts ferro aluminum armor and places 2 additional armor points um, aft, as well as increasing the autocannon ammo load to 15 rounds total. The TR11, the recon variant of the TR11, eliminates the 4 medium lasers to save weight for an enlarged cockpit and extra sensors. This version also has a second seat for an observer. The TR12 is a total redesign, fitting with a Rawlings 250 extra light engine, freeing weight for lasers to be upgraded to medium lasers. The standard AC-20 is replaced by an LB-20X AC with an additional ton of ammunition, and an extra ton of armor was added as well. All right, we have the TR-13X Transit Glare. This version replaces the standard weaponry with an experimental improved heavy gauze rifle and 4 medium lasers. The heat sinks are replaced by double strength models, and the Transit Glare is protected by 10 tons of experimental reflective armor. Finally, we have the TR13G. Based on the Transit Glare, this version offers identical performance and protection to the pilot, with the only real change being the main armament. Unable to secure a steady supply of improved heavy gauze rifles, the TR13G instead uses a long tom cannon with 3 tons of ammunition as its main armament. This massive weapon provides a longer reach and massive firepower against incoming dropships while not affecting the Transit's additional ground attack role. The variant uses an Etiquette Type 28 Mauser communication system. That's a big change in performance and kind of offensive parameters. All right, looking at the pictures that we do have here, we start off with the one from the 3025 technical readout, and this is by David Dietrich. Let's see, then we have another one which looks like it is from the revised 3025 by Mike and Jim Nielsen, based off of Dietrich's original. And then last but not least, we have one from Transit 13G, and this comes from Alex Inglis. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, from Technical Readout Prototypes. So this is, I believe, the 13G. That would be the one with the long time in there. It's one of these. We didn't get into a lot of the aerospace fighters and that when I was playing. Um, it's just one of those things of they're there. We usually concentrated a lot more on just the battle mechs and all that, but a lot of the fighters were very interesting. I would always make sure I had, if I'm doing mercenary units, some sort of aerospace fighters. on a dropship to make sure I had my dropship covered. And that was the only purpose that they had, is to make sure that dropship was kind of secured, trying to make sure I didn't have anything. And we usually left the dropships out of it because dropships by 3025, 3050 were more of a prize to either capture or just keep secure. Uh, I don't, with the weaponry that's on so many different dropships, to say, hey, let's go after somebody else's dropship, just didn't quite seem right to do in so many ways, um, because of the armament that's there, and I didn't want to ruin it. If anything, I'd like to capture it and make it my own. So we kind of left that all off the battlefield for so many reasons like that. Especially once you start getting into, uh, say, well, I know that the um, the Overlord and all that has quite a bit of weaponry on there. The Union has quite a bit of guns as well. Just looking at it in those regards, don't want to press my luck and start losing mechs when you know they come at a pretty steep price tag to begin with. But it would be kind of nice to be able to capture one. But is it worth losing most of my lance and just trying to capture a drop ship that now I don't have a need for? Maybe I could still sell it off or whatever, but just kind of going from there. All right. With that, let's get on over to our D6 stats and see what we have here today. All right. So looking at our transit here, we have it at Walker scale. I know that we've been doing some of these aircraft or aerospace fighters at starfighter scale, and looking at it, I might have the body strength on some of those a little off on that. So I may have to revisit that and fix it on my side. But please do keep that in mind. I might have messed that up just a little bit, so I do apologize. All right, so we do have this at 50 tons. Throwing that in there just is the same that we have for our vehicles. We do have a crew of one. Passengers, none available on the standard model. Cargo capacity, we're keeping that at about 45 kilograms here. Full coverage, of course. Now, the cost here is $2,442,708 C-bills. So if anybody's got that sitting in their wallet, you could probably pick one of these up on a wholesale. Uh, Maneuverability. Now, the funny thing is the way I've been doing it is 3D is our base, and then by the weight, we start losing some of that maneuverability, and then your space speed or whatever. In this case, the overthrust being a 9. When it's a battle mech, then it's my run speed. If it's a vehicle, it's my full out speed or whatever. Uh, Taking the maximum movement is a 9. That's how I'm doing everything. So being 50 tons, it takes us down to a 2D, but having a space speed up to a 9, that moves our maneuverability back up to a 3D. So we're starting off at our base speed here. I think I did goof up here just a bit. I don't think I changed my atmospheric speed, which is not right. Looking at it, because I know it's something I was thinking I needed to change, but I don't think I did. So let's see. Trying to get all the way to the end here, and I got my little box in the way. Something that you guys don't see on yours. Okay, so we have our speed is a little bit slower than what I had here, so I do apologize, and then we will try and sneak all the way in onto the end here and paste her in so we have the correct speed for our transit, and that is here. Oops. It's not 555. It is okay. 1,150 kilometers an hour. Otherwise, I think it comes out 400 miles an hour, something like that. However, that really converts down. And now I lost the picture. What did I do to lose the picture? There we are. Okay. I don't know what I did there. Anyways, so scale, that's at Walker scale because I adjusted that. So it was at Starfighter scale with the 3 from our Thrush when I was converting it over. And like I said, I go down the line and I try to change everything. I knew I forgot the atmospheric speed here, so there I am again, kind of forgetting to do something and having to change it on the fly. All right, so looking at what we have here, a body strength of 40 plus 1. Now that's our 50-ton range, and it does have 178 armor points. It has 10 tons of armor on this. So she is nicely armored for going up against battle mechs and everything else. We have 4 medium lasers, the 2 in the wings, 1 in each wing, plus 2 in the nose. So that gives us at Walker scale 8D worth of damage with a fire control of 2D. And then we have our AC 20. Again, Walker scale, keeping everything all same scale here. Fire control is 2D, and it is 10D damage. Pretty significant for a single hit. But it only has 10 rounds, so it is limited there. Um, just trying to point all that out. Now, keeping in mind, because I know it's going to happen, because we're taking this and putting it into the D6 universe. We don't have heat and all that stuff to worry about. I'm just taking this as just the basic craft, just like I have been for everything else. I know people are going to just start throwing things on here in a role playing sense, just taking it out of the actual building mechanics of Battletech. I know that's going to happen, and people are going to have fun with it and just go crazy and whatever. For those that are traditionalists for BattleTech, you're going to look at it and like, oh, that's heresy, and it should never be done. For just a flat out having fun in a role playing sense, it is going to be hilarious to see what people come up with on this, on any of these. I mean, we're going to get a locust with AC 20s and stuff like that. It's going to be hilarious just to see what people do. Because I know there's going to be someone out there doing it. My only thing is just try and keep the original prices on there and just make them pay for it, and have someone just look at them like they're kind of crazy. And for someone that's, whether we want to call ourselves the dungeon master, referee, just the DM, whatever. um, I'm not against it. It's just the silliness of it. I mean, I had one guy that he was playing an Ewok, but he had like essentially a heavy repeating blaster. Essentially, you're looking at it as he's a Ewok with a minigun walking around, probably dragging the thing around with him, literally on the ground. But for the hilariousness of it all and just having fun, have fun with it. That's really what this is all about. Just trying to bring this into that sense of just sitting down and doing a role playing game and having fun. It's almost like sitting there and getting that infamous headshot with a light mech of some sort and taking out, say, like an Atlas. Because you're only limited as to how many rounds of ammo you can actually have. Or even with a Locust, because it was a lucky shot, he hit. He had gotten a critical on it and actually hit the pilot. So these things happen. It's the fun and it's the stories that come out from all this. That's what makes all this fun, and that's why I love doing role playing games so much. When you have the guys around and someone's just trying something completely off the wall, and it works, and we're shaking our head like, how did that ever get pulled off? But stupid things happen in real life too. So you know, I can't say it couldn't happen. The probability is just so low that it's just you're scratching your head trying to figure out how it actually does happen when it actually rears its ugly head and happens to us. So here we are today, just kind of bringing the transit into our D6 universe and going from there. And hopefully you guys are enjoying getting all this into there. With that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.